Look what this feminist from the Jubilee video had to say about Aiden Ross.
Okay, so a few days ago, Aiden Ross hit me up and offered me $20,000 to debate Nick Fuentes, and I said no. I said no for several reasons, but the biggest one is that he's a white supremacist. So that's number one. Number two is his fans got really excited about it. Why did they get really excited about it? Because they're a hate group. And what does a hate group need? Something and someone to hate. So essentially, I was being paid $20,000 to provide entertainment for a bunch of Hell no. And then number three is I think it's kind of hilarious that Aiden Ross tried to pay a girl $20,000 to talk to him and she still said no. That's just funny. You guys get advice from him? Jesus Christ. Yeah, but you know, that's kind of my take on it. I just didn't want to. It's just gross. I don't want anything to do with that. I'm not going to feed into it. Not for $20,000 at least. If I'm going to sell my soul to the devil, it's definitely going to be a big bag. Like, I will never work again.
I think the reason you didn't take the 20K is because you actually can't debate. I mean, it depicts it here, right in this video.
What's her greatest accomplishment as vice president?
As vice president? Being the first female all-black president. We've never had that
No,
before.
like, I got that, but like, what's her accomplishment that made people's lives better?
I don't know. Vice presidents don't really do much, to be honest.
Can you name one thing she's done that's good?
No, probably not. Let's just talk about the history for a second. Slavery begins in the early 1800s.
Earlier.
No,
Slavery?
1816 is the beginning of slavery.
1619.
Oh, yeah, I guess it would be. Okay.
But anyway, here's some more of the debate with Charlie Kirk, and yeah, enjoy.
At how many weeks do you think that a fetus is viable?
Well, viability and moral worth are two different things.
No, but I'm asking you, at how many weeks do you think
at
a
about
fetus
20
is viable?
weeks, a baby can survive outside of utero.
So it's actually 24 to 26
Well, it's
weeks?
20. The youngest ever in a NICU unit actually happened in San Diego, not far from here, and survived at 20 weeks.
Okay, so under Roe v. Wade, 93% of abortions happened in the first 13 weeks of pregnancy. That's 93% of the abortions happened well before a fetus is technically viable
For
as
sure.
a form of life.
Let's go into viability. So what is it about, let's say, a 6-week baby that has a heartbeat, its own DNA, fingerprint, brain waves, that is less moral worth than an 88-year-old right now with dementia in a home down the street? That person requires assistance, requires help. Why is it that the 6-week baby is of less moral worth?
Well, first of all, it's not a baby, it's a fetus.
Well, what does fetus mean?
A fetus is in utero.
What does fetus mean in Latin?
What the f***? I'm sorry, is this
It
language class?
means little human being.
Ooh, his smile is very creepy. Okay.
Smiling is creepy?
No, your smile specifically.
Got it.
But let's go back to, we're losing track here.
No, but is it, what species is the fetus?
The fetus is not a species yet. It's technically classified as a parasite until it is viable.
So,
now, I want to talk to you about something very quickly.
I can't let you get past that. Are you saying a baby is a disease or a tumor?
A parasite is not a disease and a tumor. Those are not the same thing. A parasite is defined as something that cannot survive outside of its host. A baby, before it is viable, cannot survive outside of a woman's womb.
Got it. So let's extrapolate that.
It is not a living organism.
Are old people with Alzheimer's and dementia that are being assisted every day, are they parasites?
No, they're not parasites. They're human beings who are on the brink of death.
Got it. So they're
not going to be able to survive.
My 4-month-old that requires mom's breast milk and requires daily changes and feedings cannot survive without its own. Is my 4-month-old a parasite?
Your baby can breathe on its own. Your baby can drink water from its mouth to its stomach.
But it cannot.
Your baby can
it hunt?
food.
Can it gather? Can it reason?
But that's not what qualifies something as being a living organism. Being a living organism simply means, can you survive outside of a womb, outside of your host?
Got it. So I just want to make sure I'm clear. Why does that then equate to moral viability?
It equates to scientific viability.
Why? Under what standard?
Because it is not alive, and you are advocating for the rights of something that is not technically a life.
Got it. So what is something
while
that has
sacrificing the needs of the human woman who is alive.
Got it. So, but a mom can survive.
Yes.
Without the baby in her.
Uh-huh.
Right?
Yes.
The baby cannot survive without the mom.
Yes.
But a mom cannot survive without her lungs. So it's not her body, it's in her body. It's not
Yeah,
her
I
DNA,
know.
so it's not her choice. So it's
It actually is directly her DNA.
it's
It is 100%. It's 50% of her DNA.
half her DNA.
Aw, thanks, guys. Okay. Hi, how you doing?
Great.
So, you keep saying that Kamala Harris is a DEI candidate, and I feel like my main fallacy with this argument is that competency can't be objectively determined because we all have subjective definitions of what a competent politician is. But my question for you is, if Kamala Harris is a DEI candidate, why is she beating Trump in the polls right now?
We'll see what happens in November.
Okay, but she's currently beating Trump in the polls. So either
If the polls are right, I grant you that.
he's incompetent,
Or maybe she's a new candidate with a big surge.
She's doing good.
I would caution you being a little, like, this point in the election, getting too cocky, because we remember what happened with
I'm not
Hillary
getting
Clinton.
cocky. I'm asking you to answer a question. If she is incompetent, how could she beat the president, who you said is an amazing
As of the
president?
timing of this filming, can you name to me how many times she sat down for an interview?
What? No.
She refuses to talk to the press, refuses to take questions. She's done not one sit-down interview in nearly 25 days, at the filming of this interview, mind you.
I
which
think
I don't know
that
when
is
this will be
a
posted.
very weird point to make.
Well,
why would I
why is it-
count how many times Kamala Harris
because
has
it's
had
zero,
an interview?
because she refuses to take questions from the press and media? Like, shouldn't you do that if you're the sitting vice president?
She's
How many times has Vance?
He actually did 3 last Sunday and 1 today with Meet the Press.
so the
Kirsten
qualification
Walker,
of a
I'm
good
debating her, though.
president is to take an interview.
If you can't take a single question, but let me ask you this, because it's on you.
Okay, I guess the claim I'm making is that affirmative action is constitutional.
Tell me about your claim.
I wanted to talk about affirmative action because we haven't really gotten to it, and it's recently been revoked based on the new Supreme Court ruling. And I firmly believe that affirmative action is constitutional and is a right that certain American citizens deserve. And I just wanted to hear your thoughts on that.
Well, the 14th Amendment allows for equal protection regardless of race, and it's a colorblind amendment. And the whole idea of affirmative action is to try to give people extra boost based on their skin color or their racial background, which by definition cuts underneath the idea of equal protection.
Okay. So do you know why the 14th Amendment was founded and the Equal Protection and Equal Rights Act
Yeah, the 14th
exists?
Amendment was a post-Civil War amendment. 14,
Yes.
15, 16, 17 were all during Reconstruction.
So what was it in response to?
Slavery.
Oh, and who were slaves?
Well, that's an important point. So do you think affirmative action will help heal the multi-generational problems of slavery?
I do. I really do.
Okay.
Because, first slaves come in 1619. It doesn't end until 1800s.
1880s.
Then we go into Jim Crow laws starting in 1877, and black people are not given equal rights until officially 1965. Would you agree with that?
That's generally the correct telling.
Yeah. So, 1960s, 1970s.
But just so we're clear that Black Americans were able to serve in office in the early 1900s. They were able to vote throughout the 1900s. But yes, there were poll taxes. There was Jim Crow laws. There was segregation. Of course there was. I mean, you have to be delusional not to acknowledge those things.
Okay, so we can acknowledge all of those things. Can we also acknowledge, due to the laws under Jim Crow, that black people were significantly hindered from economic
Got it.
advancement?
This is a really important question. The data shows not really. It was evil. It was terrible. But Black Americans are poorer today in 2024 than they were in the 1950s.
Yes. Why do you think that is?
Good question. So we have the Civil Rights Act. We have more benefits, more government programs. Something changed between the 1950s and 2024. So there's 2 answers to this question. Either America got more racist since 1950s to 2024. So like that 70-year period, because blacks